Hello and welcome back to the land of SIKA, and we're now here at this village, some random village out in the middle of nowhere. Well, it's actually not that far away from my newest town that we conquered a number of episodes back. Now, here's the thing. There's actually been a huge amount of rebellion in the area surrounding this place. And I thought to myself, you know what? Let's take advantage of this, because that's going to mean that we really don't have to worry about a super large clan, attempting to take some of the Lamoka's newest territory if we're actually going to expand at some point. I'm not entirely sure when that's going to happen, but anyway, I felt like it was probably a good idea to do something like this. I called for an army a little bit of time ago as well. And you can see here that we have 985 units. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to head straight on in here. They don't have a very significant garrison by any means, so this should actually be not too difficult for us. And of course, if you caught the previous episode, then you'll know that we actually did change our custom units up a little bit, and otherwise, hopefully, we're going to be able to do some wonderful stuff here. I'm actually considering just going straight in, but because my units are without shields, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that's probably not the best idea, because you can see here, these guys, they have a... Do they actually have... Yeah, they have 46 crossbowmen. A little bit worried about that, and then obviously the militia, they also have in the form of crossbowmen, mostly, and that is a bit of a problem. Now, I've also done something a little bit different. Usually I don't really meddle in this too much, because most of the time the AI is very, very dominating about the whole policy thing. So usually if you try to institute a policy that helps you out, the AI is going to be really against it. However, I actually got this passed, which in my opinion is absolutely fantastic. I very much like this serfdom. I don't think this effectively bans serfdom, in my opinion, because it doesn't really change. These things don't really have anything to do with each other, but oh well, whatever the case, I wanted this because settlement loyalty being increased by 2 per day, that effectively means that I don't need my own governors. I don't need to find a governor that is the same culture as the fief. And I've been attempting to find a Yan dynasty culture companion, with the exception of the one that we already have, of course, to man the other town that we have. But unfortunately, I've been very, very unlucky in that regard. Not entirely sure why, by the way. I really have no idea why that would be the case, but apparently it's very difficult to find Yan dynasty cultures now. I don't know why. Maybe I have to look it up or something in the encyclopedia. Maybe I'm going to have to look through, a couple of pages, see what I can do about that. But anyway, we're going to try and do our best to gain some engineering skill. Obviously, we're going to be just allowing our trebuchets to do their work, and then we'll be heading in, hopefully with the walls completely destroyed. Bear in mind, the rebels really don't have any force that is capable of defeating us at the moment, so this shouldn't be too difficult. Well, let's cross our fingers and hope, I guess. Alright, so here we go. We're heading into the siege, and I actually did end up losing a couple of people. They apparently wanted to leave or something, so I basically just let them. And, oh, wait a minute, what's going on here? Okay. Oh, now this is new. Alright, this is new. I have not seen a siege with a sand slope? I don't even know. Are we in Tatooine? I don't really know. Yeah, don't tell Anakin, okay? Don't tell Anakin. Anyway, we are hopefully gonna be okay here. I mean, I've never done this, so this is gonna be kind of interesting, because these are the kinds of situations I love to be in, where we get to experience something new, and we have no idea whether we're actually going to do this without sustaining too many casualties. But I love this, actually. This is a super, super nice area. Love it. I love it. I love it. That is amazing. Okay, yeah, so we can actually shoot through the fence here as well. I like the fact that they haven't put an invisible wall here. I mean, technically, they haven't put an invisible wall. As you can see, I can shoot right through it if I'm actually good at it. And otherwise, I'm just going to continue shooting these guys over here. Hopefully not going to get shot by too many of the crossbowmen downstairs. And my forces are just completely running the enemy down. Bear in mind that these guys are pretty much just the same as they were in sieges, as they were previously. You know, they're just going to be using thrown weapons instead, which I think is pretty cool. I actually really like the fact that they're using thrown weapons now, but obviously it's going to make everything much, much more difficult when it comes to field battles. Field battles are where we are going to struggle quite a bit more than we were previously. And in my opinion, I think that's actually kind of fair, considering, as I said before, my thought process in regarding what I was doing initially was just to get a solid footing, to try and maintain the amount of units that I have available, and that's pretty much it, you know, just to maintain our forces. That's all. Because as it stands, if you were to start with this, these custom troops the way I have them now, you know, without the cavalry in tier 5 and all that stuff. I just didn't change them because I didn't want to spend any additional cash, because you do have to change that. But yeah, the point is, if we did that and we were playing consistently with this setup all throughout every single unit tier that we have, it would be very, very difficult. I mean, with the exception of all of the very difficult parties all over the place, they would just completely decimate anything that you could throw at them unless you had a significant critical mass. Because let me tell you, I actually fought those, you know, the obscure Soul Judge Knights that we had a wonderful run-in with in the previous episode. Yeah, I fought those guys again. They had around 40 to 50 units remaining, and I literally lost units still. I literally lost units, and they were being completely bombarded by our thrown weapons. It was absolutely incredible to see them just shrugging it off. They were basically just shrugging it off, all intents and purposes. They were just like, oh no, I don't care. If I get hit by a thrown weapon, I don't care. I'm going to continue running towards the opponent, which in this case was us. And they really did a great job of that. They really did a fantastic job. And they managed to survive. And they got to our lines, and then they just started cleaving us apart, which is exactly what they tend to do. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show mercy once again. I generally tend to do that if I feel like I might have the opportunity to gain this myself. Now we're just going to wait here for a little bit of time. And my army has been disbanded, as you can see right there, because my cohesion reached reached 0, so obviously that's a little bit unfortunate, but I'm actually wondering, do we have any... No, we don't have any people in the garrison. That is actually kind of bad. So what we're going to do is we're going to call for another army after this decision. Ooh, seems like we're not going to be getting it. Maybe I can... no. We're not going to be getting it. 100% we won't get it. So I guess I'm just going to vote for this guy with 60 influence. Just try to get a little bit of extra relation increases with these fellows, and then we're just going to be moving on after that. Yeah, so here's the thing. We're not at war against any of the major factions at the moment, but of course that can always change. We can always decide to do that if we want to. I think that it would actually be real nice if we could do a little bit of a, well, I'd like to say a small skirmishing against the Yarians, because the Yarians, as you can quite clearly tell, they have 1, 2 towns, and maybe 2 castles as well, that are on our border. And I would like to be able to do that, but we also have the MOGRIANS here. The MOGRIANS are very, I mean, they're invading us, basically. They're right there, which is really, really bad. So I'm actually not entirely sure what we can do. Going to increase the renown that I gain from battles, because what I want to do is I want to get my clan to tier 5. As you can see, it's actually going to take me a very long time to be able to do that. But once that is done, I will then vote for the noble retinues policy. Yeah, by the way, Vega was pregnant and she has now given birth, which is actually amazing. That's great. Look at this. Amaliana and Vega at the relative same time have now given birth to more heirs for our clan, which is really, really nice. That is super, super good. So hopefully that's going to work out real good for us. And otherwise, I'm just going to be selling these things for 50,000. Seems nice. And we're actually doing pretty well in regards to the amount of cash we have, surprisingly. I'm not entirely sure how that really changed so incredibly easily, but I think it started to turn around once we took the second town. So I think the advice that I could possibly give to someone that is maybe having some issues in the mod is just to remain a mercenary until you have a relatively decent amount of cash. This is a very standard strategy, but maybe it needs to be said either way, just in case, you know, just in case. Maybe you need the assistance or something. I don't know, but if it's helpful, then that's all that really matters. Anyway, point is, remain a mercenary until you have around, I don't know, 300,000, maybe somewhere around there, and then just go from there. Become a vassal, try to target some fief that is really, really easily accessible, and then just have at it. Have a grand old time there. I'm gonna go for, should I go for fairgrounds again? Oh, I don't really want to do that. It's gonna take 31 days. Yep, we'll do that. We'll do fairgrounds again, even though Beiyang is actually one of the towns that is very, very behind in regards to its well, not production, but you know what I mean, the structures that are built. It's just super far behind everything else. Anyway, I'm going to do a little bit of scouting out at the Melian Castle and Hequan places, and then we're going to see whether we call for an army and go for another war against the Yarians. So before we actually get down to attacking the Yarians, I thought it might actually be a better idea to attack the MOGRIANS first, because obviously they have ONICA Castle right by the side of our settlement. So I'm thinking, you know what? Should I recruit eggplants straight away? It costs... No. Okay, never mind. What about broccoli? Oh, that's not looking particularly good either. Okay. Let's go for some carrots, shall we? Let's get 28 carrots. Costs me 25,000. That's pretty significant, but I think that's all right. We did do a little bit of auto-resolving in my off-screen time just then, and I did lose a somewhat, you know, a few, shall we say, a few units. So that's the main reason why I'm doing that now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to wait until some villagers happen by, because that seems to be the best way that we can actually do something about these fellows. Bear in mind, they outnumber us in terms of clans, but they actually have 2 wars that they are fighting right now. They have 19 castles. 19! I can't even believe that they have so many. Can I actually attack this guy? No, I cannot. Okay, yeah, see now this is exactly what I'm talking about. I have no idea why Bannerlord does that. It's a bit strange, because generally I would like to, you know, actually declare war on these guys, but they are preventing me from doing so because of something, probably the non-aggression pact or something along those lines. So that obviously makes a pretty significant difference. I think I might be able to attack the caravan. I haven't actually tested that. Usually villages are the way to go. At least for me, I personally feel like villages are just straight up better to attack, because on the one hand they're very weak, so you can pretty much just auto-resolve against them super fast, get the war declaration, you know, immediately done. Or you can actually, you know what, I should have done this before. Should have literally just gone in for a war straight away just by raiding the village. You can see here I've actually gained the devious trait now, which is not great. Yeah, I know. It's not great, but I can't really do much about it. And yeah, I guess what we're going to do is we're just going to build these siege towers up once again. Hopefully, do I have 99 engineering. Ugh. Ah, yes. Isn't that so fantastic? Okay, well, this does give me a possible opportunity to try and farm some renown. And now, saying farm in a game like this doesn't really suit it too much, but it is exactly what it is, because I'm luring these vassals to me by perpetrating some kind of aggressive action. that makes things much better for me, because now I'm going to be able to, well, I can deal 25% more damage to walls. Or we can actually go with this, but I'm actually wanting to do this because we want to have the troops dealing more damage to shields and things like that. I think that would probably make more sense. I'm very much hoping, by the way, that my fiefs are not going to get touched, because as it stands right now, I'm a bit worried about them with how lightly defended one of them is, so it could very well be that we end up losing one of our towns, which would be really bad. So we're going to take a very close look at the text log here, and we're just going to see what happens. I've got to be very careful about the MOGRIANS because they are actually horse archers. Yeah, they are actually horse archers. So me changing my units to infantry is possibly going to be a really, really fun idea. Okay, wait a minute, here we go. This is perfect. This is actually really, really good. Okay, you may think, oh, how is this perfect? Well, you'll see. It's actually not going to be as bad as it looks. Alright, so here we go. This is where we actually try to defeat the MOGRIANS, a faction of horse archers, in, well, basically one-on-one combat. This is going to be very, very dangerous for a multitude of different reasons, because the What? There's a defector in here. Are you serious? There's a defector? Oh, come on now. That is unfair. The Lamoka actually have a bunch of polearm users, which is definitely going to make things even more difficult for us. But yeah. Anyway, my infantry is all the way back there, as you do. Need to make sure that my infantry stays relatively far back, because my infantry is really good, right? Yeah, it's really good, so we need them to stay back as much as possible and then send them in when we need them, rather than using them as an aggressive option. Hopefully that's how it's going to work out, at least. That is my overall plan. Okay, so now I can tell my forces to charge in, and I'm going to get my polearm out and do some damage myself. Hopefully that will work out. Here we go, not too bad, not too bad. Okay. And so far, according to the combat strength, things are going swimmingly, but that doesn't mean anything, because the enemy is going to continue receiving reinforcements. These are the only units I'm going to be getting, so I have to be very economical in what I do, and I have to make sure that I am as effective as possible, he says, as he does 1 damage. Yes, okay, well, anyway, let's just see if I can maybe do some damage to their archers. That might make a small difference, possibly. There we go. Get him. Okay, we gotta be careful here. Oh, nice! We actually killed one of the enemy leaders. That's fantastic. That's gonna be a pretty heavy blow to their morale, which is exactly what we want. We want to make sure. I mean, I've spoken about this at length beforehand, and I'm not going to go into it now. But morale is very important. Super nice to be able to do that, and might cause a couple of people to rout. Okay, come on. Here we go. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, there we go. Alright. Actually not bad. Okay, I think we might actually achieve victory with very little casualties, and this is just a perfect situation. This is actually one of the best battlefields we could have gotten. I know that sounds really funny, considering we're actually fighting against a whole bunch of horse archers, and they are indeed horse archers. I mean, you can quite clearly tell that. There's a massive amount of them. They're even called the Mogrian Khanate, so technically they are Khuzait, you know, they have a lot of similarities with the Khuzait, and thankfully we were able to pretty much obliterate them in almost every single respect here, which is kind of amazing in itself, because I was thinking to myself we were going to have some issues. I really thought we were going to be in dire straits, but thankfully no. Thankfully we were able to surprise them. And I think maybe it was the tactics. I'm not sure. I don't really want to... See, that's the thing. I'm a little bit dubious when it comes to providing myself with praise when it comes to battles. Because if I say, oh yeah, I think I did a relatively good job. If I say that, then all of a sudden I'm going to make a mistake. And then I'm facing defeat. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. So generally I like to be a bit more erring on the side of caution in that regard. I don't really like to say, oh yes, I did a pretty decent job of that or whatever, but yeah, I actually think I didn't do too badly. Maybe it would have been better, but I basically sent the cavalry in, sent the horse archers in. Obviously, they're going to be doing hit-and-run attacks as much as they possibly can. And then, obviously, I held the archers back. I had very few archers. As you can see, I only have 7 of them at the moment, and they're actually still all the way back there. They've been untouched for the entire battle, which is actually kind of nice. That must be the infantry's influence, of course, because, I mean, you see these massive walking tanks, pretty much, in front of you, and you think, okay, I'm out of here. I'm not going to be dealing with those guys. And that must be what the opponent maybe thought, because, I mean, you saw that initial charging wave of enemies. They decided, we're going to charge. Oh, no, wait, actually, no, we're not going to charge. That's what they did. They were very, I don't know, very hesitant. And they were having huge problems actually deciding what they should do, and that actually caused them to lose even more forces than they would have otherwise. But there you go. All right, that's perfect. We gained 65 renown. We actually gained 15 extra from Public Speaker, which is pretty good. I mean, technically, if I'd taken Famous Commander, I'd be getting even more renown from this. I'd be getting almost 100, I think, so maybe it's probably something I should have taken in the end anyway, but oh well, never mind. Anyway, we ended up losing 12 units, and we did it without horse archers, and we did it against horse archers, which is actually pretty cool. Anyway, I'm just going to be letting all these guys go. Generally, I like to let people go for no other reason than they might decide to join our faction. That's the only thing, because now that I've seen the Yan dynasty be dissolved before my very eyes, I'm thinking to myself, oh, maybe that can actually happen to other factions as well, and we might get the opportunity to have other vassals defect to our faction, and that can make a pretty significant difference to one's... Oh, I actually just clicked away a random event for no... Okay, well, never mind. Anyway, point is, that can make a pretty significant difference to the overall combat strength of your faction. If you take a look, I mean, look at this. We've got 8,100, they've got 7,200. We actually inflicted a pretty significant amount of casualties just now, which I'm very pleased about. And you know, now that we've declared war against the MOGRIANS, I'm going to go and attempt to take ONICA Castle. Maybe I'm going to be able to do it. But if not, well, that's just how it goes. Let's increase my mount's armor by 20%, and let's actually have... yeah, let's go for generous rations, I suppose. Troops in your party gain +5 HP. Could be kind of useful. Oh, all of a sudden, ONICA Castle has a massive amount of people in the garrison. When did that happen? I have no idea, but it's going to force the MOGRIANS to come into enemy territory if they want to defend it. Alright, so here we go. It's time to go into the siege, and we are actually not having too many difficulties here. For the most part, the main reason why we're not having too many difficulties is because I have been joined. Yeah, I've actually been joined by an allied army. Really weird. I thought this was really, really weird, and I thought to myself, wait a minute, what are these guys doing here? Because I was waiting for my, for my siege trebuchets and so on and so forth to do their business like they do, destroy the walls and everything. And then all of a sudden, these guys were right next to us, and I thought, okay, hey there, they're gonna help us out apparently. And that's actually one of the improvements, I suppose, that Tailworlds has made to the new version, because they were unable to do that before, as far as I'm aware. AI armies were unable to join the player in their siege attempts, or at least that's what I've experienced in the past. But maybe that was not the case, and maybe I just didn't have the opportunity to have that happen. Maybe I always just called for an army, and then they didn't really help there. But that's pretty fantastic, because that means that we now have the ability to work together. And I'm gonna assume that if I had an army as well, just shot one of my own men, sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, if we had the opportunity to have an army as well, that's actually then going to mean that we could gang up with 2 armies. I think I've seen that actually multiple times in this series so far, where I've just been running around, maybe off screen, maybe on screen, and I've been noticing things. I've been noticing these armies kind of holding together, being standing outside a particular castle or a town or something, and they're besieging it. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, are they besieging together? And it seems like they are. So that really makes a huge difference to the overall strength of a particular faction. That means that having multiple armies is no longer a, well, shall we say, I don't really want to call it a disadvantage, but having multiple armies go and attack random things and not really work together is a little bit, well, it's a little bit counterintuitive, isn't it? It's a little bit counterintuitive, because that means they're not going to really be, you know, allying with each other. They're just going to do their own thing and probably get themselves defeated in the process. But if they actually work together in these situations, it's going to provide so much more devastation to the area. Wait a minute. Do we have that same guy again? Do we have that same guy again who is literally not... Yeah, I think so, actually. Yep. He's in the floor. He's in the floor again. Alright, I'm going to retreat. And we're just going to do an auto-resolve. Oh my, I can't believe that actually happened again. Okay, that's really, really surprising to me. That has happened now. What is it now? Twice in the last 4 episodes or something like that? I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, we're just going to show mercy here real quick. Going to leave all of these guys behind because then they can put their troops in the garrison there and so on and so forth. And I'm actually just going to very quickly check how many... Whoa, okay, wait a minute. I've got a huge amount of this. Okay, wait a minute. How did that happen? I have no idea. Anyway, we're just going to increase my marketplace once again because I have the ability to do so, and I can't... Oh, yeah, I can't actually construct something right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait here, and then we'll construct the military camp as well. Alright, so here we go. We've actually completed our marketplace, and now I'm going to be... Okay, apparently I need 1,000. Okay, so I need to wait a little bit longer, but that's actually bringing me to the next point. The MOGRIANS made peace. Yeah, they made peace with us, which is actually really, really funny because they made peace with us and are now paying us 4,000 dinars every single day, which is actually kind of crazy if you think about it. And on top of that, we also have another faction that has declared war against us as well. So I'm just going to be recruiting a couple more carrots right here. We're going to get 12 of those. There we go. It's another 10,000. And then we're just going to be moving on. So yeah, you can see here that the Nicanians, have actually declared war. Oh, hello. That is a very significant army of Nicanians. Do you think I can actually defeat these guys? I'm actually thinking probably not. They have 700 more. It's highly unlikely in my opinion. Nia, if you just continue running, I think you'll be fine. Please just don't go into a battle with them, please. Just go into the town. Just go into the town. There we go. Perfect. Okay. That's exactly what we wanted. Oh. Are you serious? Why did you do that? That is really, really bad. Okay, well, whatever the case, I'm actually just going to be doing a bit of a battle against these guys because we want to try and weaken the Nicanian army as much as we possibly can. These fellows are going to be a little bit difficult for us to deal with, possibly, not entirely sure, but we'll see. This is actually not bad. The environment's pretty good. The environment provides us with some pretty decent advantage. So let me actually just move my infantry here. I'm just going to draw a line with them a little bit here as well. And what we're going to do is I'm going to put them into... No. Don't raise shields. Don't raise shields. I'm just going to put archers in loose formation. Put these guys in loose formation as well. And then we're just going to send our horse archers off and they can go and do whatever they do best. Which is, of course, to harass the enemy as much as possible. And then apart from that, we're just going to wait and see what happens. I'm going to move my infantry a little bit forward. And then we'll see if I can maybe pick off a couple of people, maybe cause them to come over here. It seems like... Oh, wait a minute. They've got some archers. Okay, they got some archers. Nice headshot right there. Not too bad. Maybe I can eliminate the enemy leaders. That would be fantastic. There we go. Oh, yes. Oh yeah, they don't have anything. They don't have anything at all. These guys literally are just, they're so indecisive as well. That's the problem, you see. That's actually what I would say is partially the problem sometimes with me as well. Whenever I go into a fight and I'm having a little bit of trepidation. I'm hesitant about what I should do. I'm moving my forces around in sort of random areas. I'm not entirely deciding where I should place them in defensive locations to begin with. That can have a massive impact on how effective your battle is going to be. And I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? I mean, it's kind of obvious for me to say that, but it's true. That's generally how it can go sometimes. And these guys are literally just moving back and forward. They're facing their shields away from my thrown weapon guys, and they are just tearing them apart. And that is not what you want as the Mecanians. They are primarily a defensive faction, very defensive in fact, and if you are facing yourself away from your opponent where most of the damage is coming from and your shields can't do anything, yeah, it's game over. Absolute game over, and you can see that quite clearly here. I'm really surprised actually that they decided to be so weird about it, because they technically outnumbered us. They could have done something. They maybe could have damaged us a little bit here and there. But yeah, I'm actually quite liking my my custom troop tree right now, because we have a very solid front line in the form of infantry. They don't have any shields, of course, but they have extremely solid damage that they're able to do from mid-range and indeed close range with their two-handed swords. And then, of course, we do have the horse archers, and then we have all of the prisoners that we're indeed, rescuing and converting to our side in the form of Dark Wave Knights and the various others that we are, of course, able to take prisoner. So it's actually seeming to be quite a balanced army, with the exception of the fact that we don't have any archers. I mean, generally, some of my lower tier units are indeed archers. I think turnips. Yeah, I think turnips are archers. But of course, it's neither here nor there, really, because they level up very fast anyway, so it's basically like, oh, they're there and then they're gone. So it's not really that big a deal. So anyway, I think... Wow, we literally didn't lose anyone. That's pretty amazing. Okay, yeah. So where's the last enemy? Where is the last enemy? I'm not seeing them anywhere. Oh, there we go. They actually ran away. Okay, fantastic. All right, yeah. So we're going to gain some renown from that. I wonder how close we are to clan tier 5. I would love to be able to do something with the policy, as I say, noble retinues. Once that actually comes in, noble retinues is going to increase my party size by 40. I'm going to be able to have even more custom troops, even more prisoners that I can potentially persuade to join us and everything. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be so nice. Anyway, that's going to be it for the end of this episode. I'm thinking we might actually try to go in here in the next one, so stay tuned for that. I'm not sure just yet. I'm going to have to do a little bit of looking through their composition, but we'll see. Anyway, I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.